Hello, everybody. This is the Joe and Bro Firepit Show. We have not had one of these since it looks like November 13th, I think was the last recording that we had, right?
Were you doing YouTube at that time? Or
Yeah,
I'm
still doing YouTube.
So this was the Analog Man Cave the last time we did it?
Yeah. And I think that was when I was on a roll back then because I was trying to beat Matt, remember? Whoever gets to 1,000 subscribers first.
Who won?
Me, of course. He's still like 200-300. He's a huge chickened out. Like,
and you were catching up on Eric until
forget about it. Yeah.
Until what happened? The OGL happened, and then all of a sudden he
blew out.
He did 5 videos a week, and he killed you.
Oh, 5 videos a day.
Yeah.
No, it was good. He kicked ass. He got like 1,000 subs off of that.
Yeah.
No, I kicked Matt's ass, and Matt owes me. I'm not forgetting, Matt. You owe me a steak dinner for beating your ass, and then you have to donate $100 to my favorite charity, which is me. So
the last time we did this, your 5e campaign that I was the semi-sole player in.
Yeah.
Of course, it started with a bunch of players, and then it was just me, and then we brought Dwayne in. That's why I said semi, because Dwayne came in for like the last year and a half.
Last 2 years, I think.
2 years, yeah. So that had just ended. And I think I had just started my 5e complete revamp of the Temple of Elemental Evil, or I was just talking about it.
I don't think we started yet.
I think we started that in maybe December.
Yeah.
Because now we're 4 months in and we're like 4th level.
Yeah, and I was just wrapping mine up or just around wrapping it up. Yeah, basically.
We didn't even start what you call...
The second edition.
No, well, what do you call those one-offs with the individual...
Oh, the one-on-ones, we didn't start that till the new year.
And I did the same for my 5e campaign, which was fantastic.
Yeah, no, they work well. They really do. They're helpful to get somebody's backstory fleshed out in a meaningful way, other than just, here's 3 pages of your backstory. It makes it meaningful.
And it's also practice for DM to get into the mechanics of the game, and practice for the player to understand their character outside of the group context. Like, what can I do by myself? Mm-hmm. And then you meet the group and, okay, how can I contribute to the group? And this is all gamification mechanics, but that's part of the game. It is what it is.
Yeah, no, it's good. I think for me, I started doing it because I had a gut that it would be good based on what Tim did, and I did a little bit different than he does. In a sense, because I gave away more background detail and this and that, and especially with like you or Dwayne, I did a lot because I know Dwayne gets really into that, and plus I wasn't really aware how long these goddamn sessions would take. So I had you guys got the brunt of it, like 2 days each for 4 or 5 hours.
I had a 2-session one,
and Dwayne was too. Then I finally got an understanding of how these things should go, and I paced myself accordingly.
I was starting to get pissed, to be honest, because I did my one-off in early December, I think.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
It's sometime in December, and then the holidays came, and of course the holidays disrupt all the sessions. And 3 months gone by, I'm like, motherfucker, when's this campaign going to start? I'm getting rusty.
I'm still going. Yeah, you forget about your guy.
Well, not only that, I haven't played second edition since the mid-90s, late 90s. And then, I think we played until late 90s.
Did we?
Yeah.
All right.
And then, of course, that's all that third edition didn't exist until 2000, 2001. Yeah. And then, of course, you play it for 1 session or 2 sessions, and then all of a sudden you forget what Thaco means and how saving throws are read backwards, and everything is.
It's all different.
And I'm going to say this probably 15 times in this video. I love the 5th edition mechanics. I hate a lot of the crazy bullshit they insert into it. But the core mechanics I love in their simplicity and their basicness, and in so many ways it's like the ultimate fulfillment of the game rules for me. But I do have fond nostalgia. I mean, I would say the most fun we've ever had playing D&D as a group of people was in second edition. From we
were all in our 20s.
Well, we're in college. Yeah. I was in college. You had already graduated.
Just graduated, yeah.
And it was 93 through whenever the third edition came out was when we stopped playing second edition, and because you just assumed the next edition's better, and it wasn't.
Yeah, no.
But
we had a computer, it was.
In terms of fun, you got a bunch of dudes in their 20s who have got no requirements to anything other than themselves.
Yeah, you got
and
guys.
Their geeky exploits.
Yeah. And I think nobody was married. You all had met the girls you were going to marry at the time. Your girlfriends-ish, right?
Or gotten divorced at some point, but you thought it was going to be a thing.
Yeah.
That's not me, by the way. I'm happily married still, 25 years in July.
That's why I said you guys all these. I never got married.
Yeah.
So it was like, they all investigated this thing because they thought we were probably going to a strip club every Saturday night.
Right.
And so at one point or other, every girlfriend came and had to make an appearance at the game to realize that, oh my God, I am involved with somebody who does this.
But do you remember the time we played like an off-brand Star Wars role-playing game?
Yeah,
and
Steve ran that shit, right?
Steve ran it. It was terrible. He had a well, I mean, it was terrible. I mean, it was his first time game mastering. I wouldn't call it dungeon mastering because it's Star Wars game mastering anything. And that
was the D6 West End Games one, which is a good system. Just
it was fine.
Poorly done.
But it's fine. But like, he did that quintessential move that every dungeon master does. They bring in the NPC who is the mentor, guide, all powerful guy. Yeah. But remember, his name was Rook Starblazer. Rook. R-U-K-E Starblazer.
Yeah.
Like, all right, dude. Really? Like, come on. But anyway, you remember Jen, my girlfriend at the time. This is pre anything. This is girlfriend. And
Pre-triplets.
Steve's girlfriend at the time.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't gonna name names, but fine.
Yeah.
Who is his future wife, but future divorcee. And in any event, they were playing some chicks. And I swear to God, they almost had lesbian sex in that session.
No, we were all attentive to that one.
They started role-playing their characters. Wait, what's going on here? What's going on? Do we need to retire to the antechamber?
None of us could stand up for a little bit, if I remember correctly.
I was about to. Escort them. But anyway, I digress. There was this 2E days, the heyday of our, I want to say heyday in a sense, in that we had. It was the time when we could play from 9 p.m. till 9 a.m.
We're all out of college. We were just on the verge of getting out of college. We all had a decent enough job that we're making money. Well, right?
I was in college, waiting tables.
Yeah, and I was working at me. So we had enough money.
Yeah,
we weren't broke, and we had the free time, and
and the lack of fucks given. To
play
play from 9 p.m. till 9 a.m. and then sleep for a few hours and then wake up
and do it again.
And then, like, you wake up and see the splattered dark beer on your character sheet. And you don't remember exactly how that happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are the days. I've had so much fun before then and after then. But I have to say, as an era, the 2E era was the most fun. Only not because the game in itself was fun inherently. Obviously, it was just the time that we played it. We had the most freedom to be dumbasses.
Yeah. We were young enough and old enough to, you know what I'm saying, all at the same time. Yeah. No, that was good.
All of us. It was a good sim.
It's your mid-20s.
Yes. Yes. Well, most people talk about their mid-20s are getting laid and going to clubs. We're like,
no, D&D, man.
Fucking nerds.
Geeks. God, gotta watch Revenge of the Nerds to get our.
I watched it with my triplets about a month ago.
They get it?
Yeah.
Did it hold up at all?
Yeah. There's a couple scenes I didn't really want to watch with my daughters.
Yeah.
But we got past it.
Yeah. No, that was a funny movie. Well, that fit our whole aesthetic back then, I guess, right? I mean, Jesus Christ. So, yeah, but I got the second edition game started. You guys have heard the videos on that at one time. Well, finally, it's still going. We got a couple sessions in, and it's probably got one more session to go before you get out of this intro dungeon thing that I set under the town.
Yeah, I assume this was like intro dungeon.
Yeah, just get all your feet.
I'm expecting to encounter Bargle at some point. That's how intro dungeon this is.
Yeah. No, he's not in it, but that's a good idea.
Anyone who doesn't get the reference, then just fucking log off and thumbs down the video. No, thumbs up it. Thumbs down yourself. Thumbs up the video.
Down the video.
If you don't get Bargle, then fuck off.
Yeah, Google Bargle, man. Google Bargle's a badass. He killed your first girlfriend.
Ooh, by the way, that was a hot picture of her when she was.
Her name was Alina.
The dead version of her was the hottest.
That's a little weird, but I guess. Yeah. So we started that, and we got that rolling now. So you listen to my other second edition videos to get into that. But you got your fifth edition one going. You reskinned the Temple of Elemental Evil. I talked about that a little bit in the last video, talking about how I had to redo my characters.
Literally the only thing from the original adventure. I'm a lazy mapper. I'm not like Matt, who likes to fucking sit there with one hand on a piece of paper and pen and one hand on his wiener, drawing maps. Like I have no tolerance for it. I'll do it if it's a short and sweet.
That was a shot at Matt Jackson.
Of course it is, because I always have to take a shot at. I always have to take a shot at Matt. I love him though. But I don't like doing maps. I'll do it if it's short and sweet and if it's basic. If it's not, I will search the nether reasons of the internet and find the perfect map for the situation. But in any event,
you got to use Incarnate. I'm telling you.
Yeah. I have so little time to prep that like I just hack everything I can find. But in any event, my point is I didn't need to do that because the stock Temple of Elemental Evil adventure has fantastic maps. They don't make a whole lot of sense sometimes. No. Remember, we found like the privy, and it was like a 70 by 30 room, like the biggest shitter of all time.
Yeah.
The one with the harpies, right?
It had to be, obviously, it was like I'm looking at the map. It had to be a temple.
You just completely disavowed the fact that it was a shitter.
No.
in
Maybe
your
a
own head.
shitter now, but it was obviously a temple because where the orcs take a shit has to make sense.
But in any event, the only thing that is similar to the original Temple Adventure is the maps, and in some cases, what's inside the rooms in those maps. In every other way, the players, the motivation of the players meaning EUs and Zugoi, and Itwilv and Grazit and all the other factions involved have nothing to do with the original Temple, because let's face it, it was dumb.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't seem dumb when I played it, when I was 12.
And plus, we approach it like a fucking home invasion, basically.
We just,
I
everything
mean,
needs to fucking die.
Yeah.
Like, I assume
way.
everything here is evil. Like, if you're in chains, maybe I'll assume you're good, and I'll maybe set you free, right? But everything else is like, it's hack and slash. And I'm...
Chainmail Bikini, you saved that one.
Yes. I wrote it in my head and on paper, and, I've thought it through from, when I created the world, I've got a epic timeline of like 100 million years or million years until present of what's happened in terms of gods and stuff, all culminating in this temple. And
it's set in Greyhawk too. You're keeping the Greyhawk.
100% Greyhawk. We haven't actually gotten any farther to from Hamlet to Verbong, but then again, we're still 4th level. That'll all come. So in any event, I have an epic adventure planned out in the Gygaxian format, in terms of it's Hamlet, it's the temple, and then I'm gonna just hack and slash the slave lords, because that's the worst conglomerate of adventures that have no meaning or purpose. Really bad. I'm gonna hack and slash it and probably use 20% of it to get from like 8th to 10th level, and then we're gonna do the giants again. Having nothing to do with how they played out or where they were located. They were way to the west. No, we're in the Lord Mills.
Oh, all right.
It was way to the Sea of Dust.
Oh,
towards
really?
the Sea of Dust.
Oh, all right.
Those mountains, just to the east of Sea of Dust. In any event,
Joe Block is somewhere listening.
Yes.
Naming us the mountains and is listening to this.
We're near the Lord Mills, and that's where the adventure is going to take place. However, in OG, it took place way near there. So, and then after that, we're going to do Descent in... Shit, what the hell is it called? Underdark.
Descent
into Depth.
Yeah,
D1,
D2,
yes.
Queen of
Demon.
Pits.
Culminating in Queen of the Demon Pips. So, point is, we've got 4 sets of 4 adventures that I'm going to hack into...
You should look at Joe Block's shit, though.
I have. We met him at SharCon. Well, you had already met him. I had met him at SharCon. But point being is, I'm taking the maps, I'm taking the general theme, but rewriting everything about it so that, Joe, you might remember a room, and don't you fucking lie and tell me you don't remember the harpies were in that room.
I thought it, because I saw the red floor.
No, not harpies, the sturges.
No, I saw the red floor. I thought it was a salamander. Remember them salamander things?
I'm talking about the sturges.
Yeah, I know. I saw the red floor on the map.
Yeah.
But in any case, I didn't go out because of that.
I wasn't paying attention as a DM. But I realized, wait, Joey's 80 feet away down the hall.
I'm guarding the hall.
And there's 5 dudes in the party getting stung by sturgeon.
It was a 10-minute ritual spell that Kurt's cleric was doing. So I'm like, if he's going to be in there 10 minutes doing his mumbo jumbo, everybody else is in there watching him. I'm like, I'm going to guard the goddamn hall because I don't want to get jumped. Because that's the perfect time for a random encounter, a 10-minute ritual.
I've rolled plenty of those.
Yeah, that's what I'm waiting. So I'm like,
lucky.
that's why I'm sitting, because I got dark vision. I could go in the hallway and I'm going to look for the goddamn random encounter that's destined to come.
But in any event, it's a 5e at its core rules. I adopted 90% of Joey's house rules from his previous 4-year-long 5e campaign, most of them. Joey's got just a hatred of bards and warlocks, which I don't, so I allow them.
No, I did the warlock version, but I made...
No, you didn't let it as a playable...
Not a playable thing, no.
Right, I have no problem with bards and warlocks. I would never play one, but I don't have a problem with them existing. So anyway, we're 4th level. We're at level 1 of the temple. It's progressing kind of somewhat as I planned. I did try to prep Friday because I had the day off, but I was outside splitting firewood for most of the day, so I prepped for an hour and I said, all right, I think they're going to go this way. So I got onto the GM layer of Roll20 and I placed as many of the fucking monsters as I could, and they fucking went the other way. So
you went north. You planned east.
If I had another hour, I would have the whole damn level.
I knew you were doing too, because I'm like, I said, all right, we're going to north. All right, give me a minute. I'm like, motherfucker, you didn't plan goddamn thing.
I planned out a lot. You went the wrong way. It's just if I had all the time in the world,
I could saw the look on your face because you're dragging the goddamn monster tokens over.
You see the mouse movements.
Yeah.
If I had as much time to plan as you, I'd had it all ready. I just don't have that much time.
All you do is not have 4 kids and a wife.
Right, exactly. And But anyway, so that's enough of my opinion. I think it's going to be... You know, it's funny. I had all the intentions in getting away from you already of having a very low magic world.
Yeah, you blew that.
Well, not yet. Some characters have 2, some characters have 1.
I got a good haul because I assassinated the witch and I took all her shit.
Not all of it. You left the Broom of Flying.
Yeah. Even I couldn't condone that. Even for myself, it would have been too much.
If you had a fucking wizard... So Joey's playing a thief, and there's a wizard in the group, and he sees a broom in a wizard's room lying in the corner, and Joey goes... Yeah, I can't justify taking that. I'm like, fuck you. If you're a wizard, you would have been like, oh, that looks like a really good broom. I could sweep my fucking floor with that shit.
Yeah,
you would have taken that in a heartbeat. You're full of shit.
Yeah, I couldn't justify it.
Off.
I didn't because I would have.
You couldn't justify it because you're a fucking wizard.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe as a thief, I can't justify flying around like you look like stupid.
Yeah, but you had a wizard in the group.
I mean, it's like it looks dumb.
Of course it does. Of
Room.
course it does. But you have to remember, it's Kurt's character.
Well, I wasn't going to give it to him.
A female gnome wizard.
I wasn't going to give it to him.
Kurt would have loved that shit.
Oh, that's why I left it there too.
Such a dick.
That's why I left it. I'm like,
You're such a dick. If you had a wizard, you'd be like,
I took the
curious.
Hole. Yeah.
Curious. A broom in the corner.
Yeah.
I should take this to further inspect it.
Yeah. There was no ruins or sigils on it. You said.
Oh, that's all. Right.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, just a regular fucking broom. Yeah, I knew what it was. So I ain't gonna take that.
Yeah, right.
You know.
But anyway, that was actually Mother Screnge.
Yeah, we killed her.
In Nuln.
I assassinated her.
Of course, Mother Screnge
awesome.
in the original adventure was Canonus Yadi, whatever, who is an OG person in Gygax's campaign. But like I said, I switched everything up.
Yeah, I killed her and took her shit.
She was evil, and she served evil forces.
Don't say nothing because they give shit away to Kurt and Pete.
No, obviously,
you know,
yeah, I'm not going to give too much. She was evil in service of evil forces and killed her.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But anyway, that's my point, I guess, is that she was a good guy in the OG adventure, and she was evil in this one. So I'm trying to keep Joey, of all people, off balance because he knows the adventure so well. The other guys played it through once 25 years ago.
Yeah,
so
plus I played the old video game too. Remember many
so
times
good.
through. That was
God
a fun
damn, that
game.
was good. It was buggy as shit. Though.
It was buggy, but these people fixed it. This group fixed it.
The Circle of Eight.
Cool. Yeah.
What a great name for a bunch of guys fixing a World of Greyhawk video game.
Yeah. They made so many developer tools for that thing that developers of the original game said, Jesus, I wish we had these things.
You actually go to Verba Bonk in there.
Yeah. It was amazing. Anyway, I don't know what that shit. I got to find that. It only ran on Windows 95
I tried to find
something.
it. You can't run it on Windows 10.
That's what I thought. It had to be 95 or some shit, you know.
I haven't found a workable version because I would do it again.
I would love it. And I wonder if there's a Steam version of that.
I tried
really?
everything.
Shit.
I can't find it.
Too bad. Anyway, so that's what we're doing. That's
the 5e.
Good. That's the 5e game that you're running, and that's every other Friday. And then I moved my game to Sunday because it had the most people that could get there. You know, that's the big thing about my game. That's the difference for you because you went from a 1-on-1 me and you, right, to a 2-on-1 you and Dwayne and me. Now you're with like up to 7 or 8 people depending on who shows
and
up.
In case you haven't noticed, I'm struggling with that.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. It's because you're playing used to a certain play style. You know, used to a certain way of doing it and being the only guy talking.
Well, so here's the struggle. I always have something to say and something to do. Part of it is just my personality in general, and part of it is the fact that I was solo playing or playing with Dwayne, and he and I had a fantastic symbiotic relationship. No matter which quasi NPC he took under control, he always fed off me and I fed off him, and it was a great relationship. And now we're in a scenario where I'm trying to let other people talk, and this might sound like whining on my part. It's really a struggle for you because you present a situation, and you've got a variety of people playing. Yeah. Some people are vocal, some people aren't. Some people have mic issues, but like the point is, I always want to say, Talcatar's doing this, Talcatar's saying this, and then I sometimes pause and I wait and see if someone else is going to talk.
Did I release that video yet?
Yeah. But here's the thing.
A lot of it, I was thinking about you and your role and Dwayne's role in this, going from a low number of people in a group to a big number.
Low number of players, not necessarily characters sometimes. But the point is you as the DM actually are the one that has it hard because
try to get everyone involved if I can.
You say, here's the scenario, and character 1 says, I'm saying this or I'm doing this. Well, you just can't play that out. Because at the same time, yes, me as Mike, as the player, is giving him the chance to say what he's saying, but motherfucker, I'm saying something at the same time.
Yeah.
So you can't play out or react to what he says. You have to wait for what I do and say, and the next guy, and the next guy, and the next guy. Yeah. And some of the guys will say something, and some guys won't. So you have the problem of, like, and I guess this is every DM's problem, of waiting for everybody to say and do what they do. And it's hard for you sometimes because you're trying to get to an end. You're trying to get to a point. And sometimes it's easier.
Just move it forward.
Sometimes it's easier to say, well, what'd you say, Rob? I said this. Okay, this is what happens. And I'm like, yeah, but I would have, I'm like, yeah, fuck it.
Yeah.
You know, I actually say, fuck it, because Joey's trying to get to a certain point.
Well, not only that, I'm just going to go around the circle, like Dwayne was saying, as a good suggestion. It's like, all right, Rob, what do you do? Geek, what do you do? Dwayne, what do you do? Boom, 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 boom. You know what I mean? That's probably the easiest way around the whole damn mix. It's kind of what we have to do.
That's on you, though.
Yeah.
You've got to maintain that and conduct it like a fucking orchestra, and then do that calculus of 6 people just told me what the fuck they're doing all at once, and I need to figure out how. And I guess this is all like first world problems at the end of the day.
You got 6 people playing.
But this is why a lot of games break down with more than 4 or 5 players because it's too hard as a DM to maintain all that and manage it all.
I have up to 8 if they all show. Right, but they're not always going to show.
Right.
So Vance is every other Sunday. We know that. Tim can't usually make the weekends.
I'm going to Arizona State with Matt next Sunday.
Eric's hit or miss. You're going to be out. People have problems. People got to go places, do things. Yeah, so that's why I figured give me 8, and then I'm always going to have 4 or 5.
Oh, God, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why I wanted to. Plus, I was, like I said, crossing the streams, like in, the Ghostbusters fashion, where I'm getting the 2 groups of people that I play with merging together into one group.
But the good news is we're all relatively the same age.
Yeah, we're all in our 50s.
We don't have generational gaps.
No, yeah. I
think Greg's the youngest,
Greg is
probably.
about 10 years younger. We're all in our 50s, and he's like in his 40s, right? The younger 40s. 10
yeah,
years
but he's... I factor Greg in as an extremely old school millennial.
Yeah.
Because he's old. He's millennial by definition.
Barely.
No, that's what I'm saying. By definition, he's millennial. Anytime 1980 or after is millennial. But he holds on to some extra traits.
Yeah. No, he's good.
Yeah.
He's smart, too.
So, but my point is, it's not like we're playing with guys that are 60 and 40 and 20.
Yeah.
Which that would be just a bloodbath.
No, it'd be a shit show.
Yeah.
It'd be a shit show.
We all have similar, we all have different ideas of what's the best version of the game, but we're all similar in
mind.
In mind, for sure.
No, mine is the best version of the game.
I thought you said mine, similar in mind.
My house rules make the best version of the game.
Yeah, okay. I'd say your house rules of 5 make the best version of the game.
2Es are pretty good, though.
It's still 2E mechanics.
Every
fucking roll's dumb.
Yeah, I know. It's over that.
Everything's backwards. That's why I like you have to admit, even though 3rd edition was overly complex, the systematic rules, all 5e did was eliminate the complexity, but they kept the systematic shit. You know, it progressively gets more organized and logical.
What they did is they carved off the highs and lows in 5e.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like pasteurized, homogenized vitamin D&D.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's an MP3 cuts off the highs and lows of a song, and it's not as good.
But that's what house rules are for. That's my point. Core mechanics are what's important, and the core mechanics are solid. It's just campaign style and peripherals is what you need to fucking even out and fine tune. That's why I love the core shit. Yeah. And you know what? This is coming from someone who hated the fact that, wait a second, I just played every version of the game I've ever played. A 20th level fighter is plus 20 to hit. Whether you call it Phaco, whether you call it plus 20, every 20th level fighter is plus 20 to hit. Now you're telling me my 20th level fighter is plus 6 to hit.
Yeah.
Like, the fuck do you mean? but the mechanics allow for it because you hit less or armor classes are lower, which of course it's a lot. Armor classes got scaled back accordingly, right? And hit points went up. So the fights were designed to last longer, and that's fine.
What do you cap at 9th level for hit point rolls as a fighter in 2nd edition?
And all the others.
You know what I mean? So then you're going up.
We've house ruled though, like you get con bonuses with your +2 or +3 accordingly, whatever you get. We house ruled that way back in the day. OG 2nd edition. I don't think you've done it in this version.
Fighters get it.
I don't think so. I don't think anybody gets it.
I think only fighters get their combos.
Maybe.
Fighters, paladins, rangers.
Maybe the warrior. The warrior group.
Yeah.
But anyway,
we'll deal with that when we get to those levels. If you get to those levels.
Exactly. But in any event, we're talking about core mechanics, and I love the 5e core mechanics because it takes all the things that make sense, it eliminates all things that don't make sense. And then, as you know, when we play the 5e game, it's probably different than when people 20 years younger than us play it because we eliminate all the things I would just consider utter bullshit.
Yeah.
and stupid.
I eliminate whole classes. I mean, and subclasses.
So
That's
have
the thing.
So have I. If it doesn't fit the campaign, I will never allow sorcerers and wizards in the same campaign. I've never allowed sorcerers because I'm just a traditionalist and I've always grown up with wizards.
I'm making my own
spellbooks.
second edition sorcerer and warlock class.
Unplayable, of course, you dick.
No. Well, yeah. NPC. Yeah.
Unplayable. Yeah. Well, send the fuck off.
I'm gonna flesh it out though, and then guinea pig it as an NPC. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then we'll figure out how good it is, because it's gonna be, every warlock is a pact thing. But with you, whoever you make the pact with, it's not going to be a generic thing, and you get these 5 things.
Well, a fairy pact or a demon pact.
Well, and which demon, and which Cthulhu creature,
right?
Which, every single one. The King in Yellow versus Mother Hydra is going to have a whole different.
By the way, if you
things.
include too much Cthulhu shit in this adventure,
No.
that's just that's basically Kathleen Kennedy's Star Wars shit. Like you're denigrating everything the previous generation accomplished by including too much Cthulhu shit, because we eradicated.
But you're gonna have a whole different thing. Yeah, you eradicated the Kraken Society, but now, what else got woken up?
I don't know what I don't know.
Yeah, that's the problem. But I'm using Joe Block's excellent book, which he just did a show with the Professor Dungeon Master.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he just talked to him. I guess they lived nearby each other, and I saw him in PDM's attic, where he does his recordings,
Professor Dungeon Master's attic?
Yeah, I guess he does his recordings up in the attic, so he did a whole show talking about it. It's called Swords of Cthulhu.
Well, let me go buy that. Maybe I'll get some clues about the campaign.
Yeah, well, it's really, really good. It's AD&D Cthulhu, or second edition. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
First or second Cthulhu. And so it's really, really good. Great stuff in there. I'm stealing from that liberally. I told Joe, I saw him at ShireCon, I said, this is the greatest resource ever for exactly what I need for coming up.
Wow.
For my new campaign coming up. So yeah, it's the Greyhawk Ragnard, Joe Block, Swords of Cthulhu. Look it up. Print on demand from drive-through, cheap and great, good quality stuff.
Well, I'm not cracking on your version of the game, but certainly you've made second edition better than it was.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I added, I just spilled the beer.
It's my beer.
Yeah. Well, you're the one ready to get up to take a leak. I had to get up and move.
I'll be taking another one before the night's over.
Here to fucking show here. All right. So anyway, we're all sitting down again. This is sound old people make when they stand up and sit down. That's the biggest difference between old people and young people, is that I guarantee you, everybody who's listening to this video, if you're 45 and older, right?
Less than that.
Or yeah, maybe even less. If you're 45 and older and you listen to this video, I dare you to sit down in a comfortable chair without making a sound. You always make a sound. And when you stand up, it's a grunt, right? When you're 25, you don't make those fucking sounds. When you're 40, 45 and over, every single fucking time you stand up or sit down, you will make a sound.
There's got to be some biological caveman reason for that shit.
I think we're just relieved that we're still alive. Hit a certain point. I mean, back in the old days, we didn't live past 40, right? So every time we stand up or sit down, it's an affirmation of life.
Yeah.
So
let's talk about your 2E campaign and what you've done. I mean, you've done enough videos on the micro processes.
And I got the house rules. The most recent house rules are up on my website. I deleted the old one and put the most recent, because the old one's from November. That was, pre-million changes,
Well, we were talking about the 2E campaign and the struggles of playing in a group of 7, which I think on our first night we had 6 or 7.
Yeah.
6, 7, I don't know.
Yeah, every 6 people.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Rob couldn't make it.
Right. And
then Tim could make it. Definitely.
And so of the entire group, we're all in Parnast, the village that Joey's spoken about ad nauseum. So you all get, if you're following Joey, you get what we're talking about. And I think my character's the one from Parnast.
Yeah. Others are from the regional area, but not from Parnast proper.
Regional meaning like they've never been to Parnast.
Well, no, some of them have. Like Eric's
character, the dwarf.
Tim's character.
Yeah, okay, I forgot about those. Well, Eric didn't. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's true. But I'm the only character from Parnast, and it's a big festival, and a bunch of people came in, but a bunch of adventurers came in, and I'm playing my guy post-apocalyptic level war, and that's not a hyperbole. That's legit, the ultimate hype, crazy war that went on. And he's coming back to Parnast, and he was a former cow rancher. He's just going to go back to do that, but he's a different person than when he left, right? I won't use the term PTSD because I feel like that it denigrates all the real human beings that have had that, and I give them all the respect for what they've gone through, even though this is a role-playing game. But it's kind of similar to that. He's somewhat closed off, doesn't like outsiders coming to his village because outsiders to him is anybody he didn't grow up with as a kid.
Yeah.
And anything he didn't grow up with as a kid, after he became a kid, he went to this fucked up war of demons and devils and dragons and all kinds of shit.
Oh my.
Demons and devils, dragons, oh my. And he came back to Part 9 and he's like, fuck all the outsiders.
Yeah.
Now, session 1, you have a bunch of people that don't come from my town, which is fine because it's a festival.
Yeah.
But then a bunch of adventurers came, and now he feels like, all right, I don't like this going on. And so it was, I'm trying to make an effort because I appreciate playing with other players of like mind that want to role play. Good players of like mind, and I've like Greg Christopher, I love. Everything he says resonates with me. You'll do a podcast or a YouTube video for an hour and a half. He'll talk for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
But everything he says has
Friday
weight.
Night?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
That one. My point is, like, I totally, and Rob and Eric, I respect playing with these guys, and I appreciate the opportunity.
You haven't played with Tim. You really like playing with Tim.
I would. I like that guy also. He says some good shit too. But my point is, I'm trying to role play my guy, not face to face. It's not everybody's got their cameras on. So if the cameras are on, I don't know if they're looking at me or not.
Yeah, that's hard.
Right?
I don't know if you're having fun either. I can't tell.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I know,
right.
Like Vance had camera issues, so he just went cameraless and just voice and a little choppiness. And I was trying to like hell include him because he's cool as shit too. I knew you get along. You just need more time with him.
That's just it. So I'm doing my best because like you said, it was just me, you, and Dwayne for a long time, and before that was just you and I. So I'm role playing off of you, and you're role playing NPCs off of me. But I'm in an environment that I can't fucking wait for. I want to role play within the context of a huge group of cool dudes.
Yeah.
And half got no camera, and so when I'm role playing, I'm looking at the screen to look at reactions of people who don't have cameras. And I'm like, well, god damn it. And after the session, I'm like, either they think I'm a great role player, or a
dick,
or a dick,
Yeah.
because I'm trying to play my character as like, who are these motherfuckers in my town?
Yeah.
And at one point, when they start asking me too many questions, I actually channeled myself in this because I don't like small talk. They're asking me questions. I'm like, Joe, I sent you a private message.
I'm
doing the Irish goodbye, which is what I do in real life, by the way. And I'm
explain the Irish goodbye for the non-Irish.
For that, well, I don't even know if it's an Irish thing or not. I have no idea where the term comes from. But it's like when you're at an event and you're like, I don't feel like dealing with all the goodbyes, so I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'll be right back, and you leave your beer there, and you got to get a full beer because then they trust you. So you're paying some money to pull this off effectively. Then you don't go to the bathroom, you sneak out, and you fucking get in your car and go home. Yeah. That's what I do anytime I go to a social event. It's the greatest thing ever. People expect it now, and they still can't catch me. It's a whole thing. But anyway, I'd send a private message to Joey, the DM, going, I'm Irish goodbye, I'm going to the other bar in town. Whatever the fuck that place is called.
Yeah, the locals place.
Yeah. And because, but now meanwhile, the other players are like, well, he just doesn't want to be around us. I'm like, whatever, man. I'm trying to open my character, and I think I sent the whole.
Think they didn't think that. Nobody thought of that.
Oh, I don't know. But see, I just don't know. I don't know what they're thinking.
That's the thing. You don't know because you can't see.
I sent a text a day or two after. I'm like, hey, and I just kind of sort of tried to explain where I was coming from as a character. I even called one. You even didn't know what I was talking about in one session when, Dwayne just made we'll get into this. You made a video about Dwayne changing characters mid-campaign, and you played it out mid-adventure. Yeah. When he's like, hey, I'm just going to get out of here. And he called Rob's character a sheep fucker. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, he's going to get one parting shot as he goes. Yeah. And Rob draws his weapon.
No, he didn't draw the weapon. I'll keep telling you.
No, but he did. He initially said he was going to. And then he decided not to.
He was going to punch him.
Yeah.
He just went up to punch him, and he fumbled.
And he fucking fumbled, which is great. Because he didn't even. He just let him. Rob, of course, doesn't have the advantage of knowing that this is Dwayne's exit from the campaign.
That's the thing, yeah.
Right?
Rob thought he was just talking shit.
Yeah, so Rob's like, it sounded like Donkey Kong and whatever, and he fumbled. And so after the whole thing played out, I draw my bow, because I don't know what the fuck's going on. Yeah, I'm sitting here, and
who do I shoot?
Dwayne's character climbs up, and then Rob gets up, and I'm like, I'm doing my worst fucking Western accent, like, we all done being assholes, because I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? And then like we explore another room, and all of a sudden another character comes down the rope. I'm like, wow, that's a fucking quick transition from one character to another.
And it was like, hey guys, I heard you going in a dangerous hole.
His thief went upstairs, and what came downstairs? I don't
Wizard.
Wizard. That's right. We got a wizard now. So yeah, that was really weird. You not only handled it within a campaign, you handled it within like a 10-minute segment.
Yeah, I usually get to it. I'm not going to wait all the way upstairs. It comes down. I mean,
it was like it was almost like a cheap play when the actor goes off stage and comes back with a different outfit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, different character, different outfit, same guy.
Same guy, different outfit.
I'm not going to waste time with, how does this make sense in the role-playing sense of it? Just we're all here to play D&D. We got 3 hours a week.
Yeah.
God help us, we carve out time. Let's not bust balls about, how does it make sense that he's now with us? Because it's his character. That's why he's with you.
You know what I thought of when it all happened? And I thought about having this conversation. Like, you could have done that better.
Yeah.
I remember a story by Mark Hamill when they were filming the first Star Wars. And they got out of the trash compactor.
Yeah.
And they're all in their outfits. And Mark Hamill said to George Lucas, he said to Harrison Ford, he goes, wait, we should have wet hair and slick back getting out of the water because that doesn't make sense. We shouldn't have dry hair. And Harrison Ford goes, it's not that kind of movie, kid.
Exactly.
And when I thought about busting your balls the next day about how you just jammed Dwayne's second character down our throat, I expected you going, it's not that kind of adventure, Mike.
That's a great, exactly. We're all here to fucking play.
It's not that kind of movie, kid.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's totally Harrison Ford, too.
Yes,
I can totally hear him saying that.
You dumb kid.
Yeah.
And by the way, he also had no idea how big the shit was going to be. He wouldn't have said it.
Yeah, this is even, he's a space.
It's not that kind of, I was a carpenter 4 years ago, so shut the fuck up.
Exactly. Jesus Christ. Yeah. No, it's going off to a decent start, though. We got a couple sessions under our belt so far.
2?
2. We got the next one should clear up the bottom part. I got some talent shit. You finally remembered the stuff I
didn't remember, so
I dropped 3 hints and he's like not picking up on a goddamn thing.
So Joey gives me, I've got probably 8 Word documents and 2 maps.
Because you're from the area, you have more knowledge about Parnas than
right. But again, my solo session was 3 months ago.
You should have memorized that shit.
So time goes by, and Joey drops some allegedly hints, and in between the time we played, he goes, "Hey, you missed some shit last time." Yeah. So I'm like, "Oh fuck!"
I said, "Read your Parnas documents."
So yes, so I didn't. I mean, I did, but that didn't clue me in. So
it's only like 12
The next session, we're in the same room where we left off, and I built my own PCs. I got 4 27-inch monitors. I have everything up at all times, right? I'm like Nick, what's his name from the Avengers?
Who?
Yeah, Nick Fury.
Yeah.
See all those screens?
Yeah.
Goes, how did you see those? And she goes, he turns. I have to turn to see all my monitors, but they're all there. And I had all the Word docs converted to Excel format because you hate Excel. I like Word, and it's all searchable. So Joe, I remember when we were playing. Joey goes, "Oh, he gave me clues last time, and I forgot." So Control F, motherfucker. He names a name. I Control F. I type that, and it pops up on Word, Excel. I'm like, "Oh, Cletus!" So it was a name on a gravestone not a gravestone, a coffin.
A coffin or something. Yeah.
And so the next week, Control F was my friend. I figured all this shit out with Control F. Mm-hmm. He'd name something, I type it in.
Yep.
Because I can't. You gave me so much stuff.
I memorized it. What the hell?
No.
I'm thinking about doing some right now. I think you catch that at the end of the other video.
That pissed me off.
Why?
Because you said you were going to change the whole thing.
Yeah.
But it was a continuation of the previous campaign. How can you change the whole fucking thing?
Doesn't matter. Who cares?
No. So don't give me that. It's not that kind of adventure, kid. At this point,
not that kind of adventure, kid.
Because you.
I was going to change names. It'll be the same thing. Instead of Waterdeep, it'll be different cities'
name. You have no idea how much that fucking tweaked my OCD, pissed me off because it ruined everything that came before.
No, it doesn't. It all happened in a parallel universe.
That's what I'm saying.
Just like the MCU.
You
unified it.
When you said that, I'm like, I gotta remember to fucking bring this up at some point, and then I forgot.
Yeah. I guess we don't have time. Yeah, I just MCU it. It's a parallel universe. Same story happened, but at a different place. That's all. It's gonna have all the same components. I'm just gonna move this shit around and rename it so I can maybe do some fiction writing and maybe publish it. I can't call it Parnas and Waterdeep and Daggerford, but I could call it something else. And the maps will be, there will be a swamp, there will be a troll land, there will be a forest.
I don't give a fuck about any of that. You have to understand this is 1,000% selfishness. Is everything that exists in this campaign is the result of what my characters did in the previous campaign in the same world in a different edition.
Yeah, that's all. So there's somewhere they'll be in this world too, but there's a second edition version of your character floating around this world, which you'll meet someday.
Don't ever
maybe
reduce my character to
second
a
edition.
character.
He's going to be a second edition twink.
I can't go from like 370 hit points with resistance to everything to like 120.
If you're 120 if you're lucky.
No, it will be.
It'll be like 65.
Trust me, I did the math.
Yeah, it'd be like 65 hit points or something.
No, I did the math. I did a conversion a while back when you initially hinted at that shit.
This barbarian class doesn't even exist. How the fuck did you do the math? I'm going to create one of them too.
No, I use the Unearthed Arcana version.
Oh, well, shit. Like D400 for their hit die every goddamn level.
Yeah, I'll use the term rolled loosely. A barbarian, and at 8th level, I'll never forget this. What was your
Chert? No,
did you name him Chert?
Chert.
No, Chert was the barbarian from the Gork books. So you had a barbarian. Did you name him Chert?
Yeah, I think I might have. Yeah.
So you named him Chert, and he was 8th level, and as I recall, he had like 144 hit points.
Badass.
144 hit points
like
in
a D12
first edition.
But a high con. You know?
And you got double con bonuses. Like it was crazy.
Weird shit.
So like, of course, when I say roll, you didn't roll. You just gave him max hit points every level, and he had like, like 144 hit points in advance. Like Orica's at 120.
I know.
For perspective.
I know, it's ridiculous. I'll do a whole different thing for him, basically, But yeah, I gotta have a barbarian class.
Well, they're there.
Yeah,
well,
but they're
1,000 miles to the north.
Yeah, well, maybe some interaction. You never know. So I mean, it's. I'm just gonna convert it so I can do some writing. I want to do something like that because There's the weird thing is that it's like, oh, geez, they gave it to me 5 months ago, blah blah. But in my head, I've been living with these characters, these NPCs, since August when I created all this stuff, right? And in my head, I have this web of connections and stories that are going on, and all these NPCs are doing a million things in my head, but you guys are just gonna like, I'll buy a beer from that innkeeper. The other 300 things that innkeeper's got going on in my head.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You did that. I mean, you did that extremely well in Phandalin. Like you took that little shithole.
Yeah.
And how many maps and versions of the map, whether it was paper and a photo, or then you did it on whatever the software was.
Yeah, Incarnate.
Yeah. But like you took that and made it a living, breathing thing, which was awesome. And I would love to have the time to do that.
The thing with Parnas is that I did it as we went along. And learning what I did, the skills I developed.
Went along when?
With the campaign, as the campaign went along.
The old campaign or the new one?
The old campaign with Phandalin.
Yeah.
I did it as we went, right? And so it was like a natural outgrowth of things that were happening. Whereas Phandalin started though as a nothing place. It was a nothing burger. There was nothing there. There was nothing going on.
Well, that's kind of Parnas too.
It was static, right? But Parnas doesn't exist anywhere in any book. Except that one little thing that shows 3 buildings.
Yeah.
In the stupid ass dragon.
In that terrible adventure, yeah.
Right? And so, it was terrible. There was nothing there. So I'm like, I have a blank slate. And so I'm going to start a town. I'm going to create the map for it.
And you like the fact that it had all of the other natural
every
things
resource
around it. Yeah.
But what I wanted to do it was
every terrain.
I could create the whole place, and it wasn't just a static start point. There was a deep history to it. Right, and so that's why I this whole web of history before what came before, right? So that you guys are jumping into a story that's already ongoing. Whereas when I started Phandalin started from day one. There was nothing that happened before in Phandalin that affected anything.
Right, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So what I did was I gave Parnas a history, which Phandalin didn't have. Phandalin was an emergent story, whereas Parnas is going to be an emergent story, but coming from a deep background that I've been playing in my head. So I'm thinking to myself, I might as well write some stories because I like these characters I created.
And my favorite character that you created, let me think of his name.
What do you do? What's he do?
Tritherion.
Huh?
Tritherion.
Oh, that's the mage of your past life.
So it's my 25th level 5e wizard with the Nether Scrolls is like, the biggest badass on the planet. He had a past life. Tritherion, I can't remember his last name.
Yeah, I don't forget to.
I don't care. And he was, of course, even more powerful than Travis because that's just a way of...
And he was an evil bitch.
And he was a scumbag. He was an
asshole.
And he's scumbag, and he made a pact with...
The devils, Asmodeus,
that I was somehow beholden to once I got the Nether Scrolls, but I worked my way out of that one, too. But in any event, my point is, that was a theme that came up, a year and a half ago in the 5th edition campaign that I worked my way through and learned a lot of shit about my past existence. And then... And I can't remember even who even said this, but when you had your session 1 a couple weeks ago, someone mentioned Tritherion, which,
really,
one of the characters mentioned Tritherion. They must have found a scroll.
Oh, the Wood Elves, probably.
The Wood Elves.
Yes, the Wood Elves, because the Grey Elves in the forest, because they have the knowledge that Trithorion's the one who caused the Netheril Empire to collapse and blow out the goddamn mythos surrounding Everesca.
Right.
Yeah.
So the fact that you brought that up and you tied in something deeply personal to one of my characters, And of course, now I'm playing another character in another campaign with a different rule set. Of course, and now I've got a character who knows nothing of Tritherion at all, and I'm just
Probably
like,
never will.
But as a player, I was like, it's fucking cool.
Yeah.
It was a small, not even a gesture. It was something you're just doing in your campaign, but the tie-in, it, like Al Pacino says, it brings you back in.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like it's a cool. It was just a cool tie-in that I appreciated as a player that no one else even understood. I don't even think Dwayne, who played that session with us, understood what it meant to me. You know?
Yeah, no, it just came naturally because they would know that, right? These gray elves. I mean, it's only a few generations back for them, so they're still pissed off at what the hell he happened. He caused the whole war.
I don't think anyone listening to this is understanding any of it other than the fact that you tied in a previous version of my character 1,000 years ago. 4,000 years ago with my character, the same soul in a different body, and mentioned it in a separate campaign under a separate rule set. That's fucking cool.
No, it's fun. That's the kind of shit I like to do, though, and that's why I kind of want to write some shit about it, you know?
Yeah.
Hopefully, I'll be a good writer, unlike the fucking writers of the D&D movie.
You understand archetypes and what people understood when they wrote the Iliad and the Odyssey.
I'm trying. In fact, I just started. I'm going to reread the Iliad again. I'm starting the old classes that we had back in college.
That's a good idea.
I'm going to start from the beginning. I'm going to reread, because you read shit 30 years ago and you're a kid. You don't know a goddamn thing when you're 18.
You have a completely different perspective.
You know? So now I'm going to read the Iliad and the Odyssey, and I'm going to work my way through all the great literature. You know, and just as an adult, 30 years later, 35 years later in some cases, just have a deeper understanding, you know?
Yep.
And I'll do the same thing I did back in college. After I read, I'm going to look at the clip notes. Right. Just to actually get the deeper thoughts about it, you know?
Because those guys understood archetypes and they understand, they were psychologists. They understand humanity and what people wanted to hear and see.
Shakespeare and the Greek dramatists.
And it was very eye-opening to me last night? Watched the movie with a bunch of dudes our age.
Talking the D&D movie.
The D&D movie. Yeah, the new one. I was out splitting wood all day yesterday, and he's like, hey, we're going to go to the movie. And I'm like, I got something going on. I got a meeting at 3. And, we'll go at 7. And my first thought was, all I want to do tonight is sit by a fire, which I'm doing right now.
That's what we're doing now, yeah.
Which I'm doing right now. Yeah. I don't want to go to this movie. I've heard nothing good about it. The only thing good about it was I heard, holy shit, it doesn't suck like ass.
Yeah.
You know? And that's the standard now. It doesn't suck terribly, so let's go see it.
It's better than the bullshit coming out of Marvel and coming out of Lucas.
Disney, yeah. So but then I remembered that the director literally was quoted as saying, I love masculating men in movies, and I'm like, well, I don't, that's not an archetype I want to see.
And the bottom line is that after watching it, I mean, I didn't dive into that deep well of bullshit.
They didn't do a terrible job. I would just say the Rodriguez chick who played the barbarian.
She was believable.
She was believable because, you know why? Because every character she's ever played in the movie is just like that. It's what she does, you know?
Yeah, but here's the bottom line. It's here's how I was thinking about this, how to rate a movie. Using the old days standards, right? So, would I go to, after having seen it, would I go to see it again in the movie? No. Would I have gone in the first place? No. Okay. So after having seen it, will you, when it comes out on VHS, will you rent it? Or DVD, would you rent it? No, I wouldn't rent it either. When it comes out on DVD, VHS, or whatever, would you buy a copy for yourself? No, I wouldn't do that. Okay. When it comes out on HBO, right, using the old way of everything used to get dropped, right? After the DVDs comes out on HBO at some point, would you make it a point to see it that Sunday night at 8 o'clock the first time it airs? No. Okay, so next thing you see, you're flipping through channels.
I guarantee you I'm going to have one thing after you have, even a lower tier.
Well, if you see it on TV one day and you're you're flipping through channels as you're moving around the house, cleaning up bullshit.
It's got to be a Sunday, late morning, early afternoon.
Yeah, the same thing, because we all see, if you're flipping through channels in The Empire Strikes Back.
Or the Highlander,
you're going to watch that shit mostly.
You're going to stop what you're doing.
You're going to stop, you're going to watch it.
Or you're going to eat your breakfast while you watch it.
Yeah.
Your late breakfast, early lunch.
You're just going to stop for an hour and finish it off because it's the Highlander. It's the fucking Empire Strikes Back. Would you do that with the D&D movie? No.
Oh, okay.
The D&D movie, though, it's like you're vacuuming the house and it's on background. Maybe.
I think
maybe.
I think I would, and here's the last category I'm going to go beyond you. I would turn that shit off and just listen to some Alice in Chains on fucking Spotify. I started dozing off about 20 minutes in. Again, I was mentally and physically tired from my exertion yesterday. And I thought about just tapping you on the shoulder and saying, if you turn over, look my way, and see me sleep, don't fucking wake me up. Because I saw where it was going. I have to say, what the fucking guy's name? Hugh Grant? Was it Hugh Grant?
He was good.
He did a good job.
He did a good job.
I have to say, as an actor,
Yeah.
I didn't understand in the late 90s, early 2000s why he was a thing. He was just a goofy English dude.
Yeah.
You know,
Those
but
bromance,
chicks dug him.
romance
He was
movies
bromance.
he was in,
Yeah. I never got it.
Yeah.
But, like, he fucking pulled that shit off perfectly.
He did. He did a good job.
And I think Chris Pine is great.
Yeah.
I think he's great. But, what was, and we made this comment walking on the movie. None of us knew what the characters' names were.
Not one of them.
So-
there was the bard, there was the barbarian.
The bard that never did anything bardly, other
Yeah.
than sing a couple songs. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, if I was 7 in 1979, and our mom goes, "What kind of underoos do you want?"
Underoos.
I wouldn't say, "Oh, that guy in the D&D movie," because he sucked.
No,
He sucked.
would you want the outfit, that little plastic outfit that you got in the box from the store, that you could dress up as for him as Halloween?
No.
I mean, I couldn't name anybody in that movie. If I were 7, I'd want to dress up like them in Halloween, right? And if I were 13 or 14 and just started playing D&D and I just saw a D&D movie, I couldn't name one of those characters I'd want to emulate as my PC.
And even the one guy that they tried to put out there as
Paladin?
the paladin guy,
He was almost like, I thought he was a joke almost, because he seemed like the paladin that the DM throws in as a DM character for a short point to get them on track, to railroad them into a fucking adventure.
Or
he was
even-
Mr. Perfect.
he
in
was
all
Mr.
ways.
Perfect.
He was almost a caricature of a paladin.
That's my point.
As a DM stand-in.
He was a caricature, and he wasn't.
Yeah, he didn't. Yeah.
He wasn't. He fought like a badass, but it came off as contrived.
Yeah.
Everything about him was a trope.
Yeah. He was a complete trope.
Everything
That's why I thought
about
it was.
him.
I think it almost had to be on purpose. They were doing that because it was so over the top tropey.
God, my old grammar English from like 8th grade is failing me. But what's the words when you say cannot
Is it
instead of
failing
can't?
you? Is the beer?
No.
failing you?
When you want to say can't, but you can't, and you say cannot.
Contractions.
Contractions.
Jesus
He
Christ.
used no contractions. Everything was a tropey fucking I am the holy man who must guide you.
And they made
on the
fun
back.
of him for that way because he even walks in a straight line.
He went over that fucking rock.
He walked instead of going around the rock. He walked over the rock. He
but
walks
it was
in it.
a
He was
terrible character. And here's the part. God damn it! And I question everything about me. When we were 20 and the old people who were 50 like us, 50 or 52, said, "Oh, that sucked," and we thought it was the best.
Oh yeah, I mean,
I walked out of the
we
movie.
saw Call the Conqueror for fuck's sake and thought it was good.
Yeah,
Right?
I thought that was. I thought that sucked at the time. But so there was.
We saw Conan the Barbarian. We thought was badass, and it still is.
Yes, of course. But Pete's daughter and son and Pete's daughter's boyfriend went.
Yeah.
And it was Pete's daughter's second time seeing it, which
They
I
liked
didn't.
it.
I
They
didn't know.
liked it. Yeah.
We got out of the movie, and I felt bad afterwards. I was just motherfucking the shit out of it.
Yeah.
No, I liked it. It's my second time. I'm like, oh God, I feel bad now. I'm just hating on everything that you love.
Yeah.
So I really did honestly feel bad, but like
it was
they.
just bad story writing.
But they just
honestly.
watched not going, well, that old man really is a hateful motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly. But I think it's also the other thing is that these kids the last 10 years have been brought up with movies without any kind of story that made sense, and with characters that didn't make sense for what they did, and they had the whiz bang move from one action scene to another of Marvel and Star Wars, and the shitty plot and the shitty writing, they haven't seen it because they just haven't seen it in their semi-adult lifetime.
Most importantly, all of the movies they've grown up. Well, I shouldn't say that. The Marvel movies you're talking about early on, 2008 through 2000.
The first couple.
18, all for 10 years they relied on the classical archetypes you talked about, all of them.
But they had a formula though, and they didn't have a lot of character development in each movie. They weren't deep. It was flashbang, whiz bang.
There was some character development. It was basic.
It was basic and
Tony Stark had a path. Thor had a path.
That's why kids today can't sit there and watch a 2-hour deep movie because they're like, where's the action?
Yes.
Motherfucker, what do you mean, where's the action?
But,
you know?
But not just that. I think the kids growing up nowadays, because they're in the last, I would say, 6 years.
This is the get off my lawn portion of the podcast.
Yeah, but they're watching shows that don't. That are making sure that all the right things are included.
They're not deep, though. Is my point. The writing is not deep. The stories aren't. The characters aren't deep
because they're focusing on the other things.
And they're also focusing on too much on the flashbang, the whiz bang of all the scenes, and moving from one action scene to another before you have time to digest what you just
and
saw.
Appreciate
it's like you're on a roller coaster of action.
Yeah.
And you don't get those lulls in between.
And speaking of that, the one thing I'll say, there's a couple things. There's 3 things I liked about the movie. The special effects, they probably could have spent less money on, because they were top-notch special effects in the movie. They were top-notch special effects. They were good.
They were good. I thought so.
It way outpaced everything. I that's what I feel like. It's unfortunate that the movie probably will end up not making money because they spent so much money on special effects and paying top-tier actors. They didn't need to hire those people to do this movie.
Thing I didn't like about it is that D&D is inherently a medieval world, right? And somebody else was talking about this today. I won't take credit for the idea. We was talking about this. He's like, basically, the more you have a world, and basically D&D was based on a medieval simulation, a war game simulation, right? Mm-hmm. And so everything was real, based on medieval times, and then you had an overlay of magic.
Sure.
Everything was medieval, real, and then an overlay of magic, right? Yeah, it does in a way, but the thing is, they've lost with the latest editions any sense of authentic medieval. There's none. It's all fantastical.
It's all fantastical.
Everything is fantastical.
Every city's got magical shit all over the place.
Everywhere, all the fucking time.
Not in my world, but that's how they are made, yeah.
And the other thing with me, you've all heard me talk about this before, like, where do the orcs take a shit? Stuff has to make sense.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, the first scene with that prison, we're sitting there next to each other watching this scene, I'm saying, what's the thing I said to you, remember? And you know how much resource management, how much the cost of resources, because they have an open air prison in the Icewind Dale frozen area, and each room has like torches for light or warmth. I'm like, that is insane. The lack of trees up there.
Yeah, of course.
How the fuck are they going to do this?
Not just that, I'm thinking to myself, all right, these 2 people were arrested at the same time and they're sharing a cell. They would not be fucking sharing a cell.
And there's a supermax prison somewhere in the fucking northern, beyond
cost and the resources just to bring them there would be insurmountable.
And how about you build walls around this to keep the fucking heat in, so you need less trees, which are scarce anyway.
Yeah, it's all bullshit.
That's the shit that doesn't make sense. That irks me. As soon as I saw that, I don't care about everything else. It has to make sense.
Yeah.
It has to make sense.
Yeah.
You know?
So anyway, I told you one thing I loved about it, which is special effects, which is a pretty weak thing as movie goes. But there are 2 things in the movie I really liked. The fat red dragon actually was the first time I smiled in the movie.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking, all right, wow, that's a... at one point you're like, what the fuck coming out of that hole?
I didn't recognize it.
That's a red dragon.
Yeah.
But you couldn't recognize it because he's really big and fat.
Yeah.
And he couldn't really move. He looked like one of those hot dogs at Dash Down. Where he had stubby legs, and he kept rolling and spinning and flipping over because he was too fat. And so I thought that was funny. It was humorous. If it was done in a movie that was better, I would have really, really enjoyed that scene. As it was just the funniest part of the movie.
I also like the fucking talk to the dead spell thing where
I forgot. That was another good part.
Pretty good.
The first time he did speak with Dead, said you got 5 questions.
Yeah.
And he started asking the rest of the people in the group questions, and the dead guy thought he was asking him.
Well, didn't care. He heard the question.
He heard the question and he answered it. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
So then he ended up just wasting the entire spell. That was really fucking...
Yeah.
Of course, they blew the joke by making it last
too
many people. So all right. So it was the special effects, the dragon, and the last thing, which I didn't even see. You pointed out.
Yeah.
Was the last kind of like climax scene when they're in this big arena, and Joey goes, "Holy shit! That was the original D&D cartoon characters." I'm like, "Fuck! I missed it. I thought it was a one-off." And they're like, what, 20 seconds, 30 seconds later, you see him again.
You see him running through.
You see the barbarian. You see Presto. You see the Cavalier Eric, and you see the green armor bow with Let's bow guy. You get the thief acrobat. Yet it was basically an Unearthed Arcana advertisement.
Yeah.
that entire cartoon.
The cartoon, yeah.
But anyway, they were. I think it was at least 2 scenes, maybe 3. You saw them. That was so fucking cool.
Yeah, they were just there. They were there
in the background.
Yep.
Such a good addition to the movie.
The other thing I liked about it, the other good scene is like where they had, forgetting the fact of where they all of a sudden got the awesome, cool magic item that allows you to step through a portal from one place to another within a quarter mile, right? How it came about that they got it in their possession was kind of stupid, but once they got it, they got some really creative use out of it, which was kind of neat.
Pete told me that we were taking a piss in that scene where
where she found it?
Where she actually got that item.
Yeah.
I was actually just stretching my legs and getting popcorn, to be honest.
Yeah, I actually took a leak. So, all right, so I don't remember where it came from, but the fact that they made great use of it, that was pretty cool. There was like impressive, ingenuity.
Great use of it in terms of like outside the box thinking.
Yes, that was fun because that's what the best PCs would do in the game.
Thinking in 3 dimensions. It was great.
Yeah, that was pretty cool, and it had some good effects in the game. You know, in the game, in the show. You know,
yep.
So
and even when it went sideways, she carved off a little thing and went through as like a worm or something. It was all smart.
Yeah, it was smart players would make use of it in that way. You know, so that was nice. And the throwbacks to different D&D monster, Displacer Beast, that was all nice.
Oh, that was cool. So I had a lot of fun guessing. I saw a magic missile. I saw Scorching Ray. I saw 3 little fire things go by. Time stopped clearly several times. Yep. At the end, we saw Meteor Swarm, although I pictured it way more badass than that.
I know. That was...
Number one, you don't roll to hit, and she hit nobody. It was a saving throw. It's concussion and fire.
She like spread it around, wasted a 9th-level spell for no goddamn reason.
Yeah, she blew the Meteor Swarm. But there was of course the whole concept, and don't ever do this in game because I'll quit. The whole concept of him attuning that helmet to himself.
Oh yeah.
There was a whole thing.
Yeah.
He had to like defeat his ancestor and all this shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck that.
But it wasn't really himself.
It just takes of course.
Yeah.
But that was cool. The whole attune. I guess the cool thing was you heard Mordenkainen's name. Yeah. Sastan, Neverwinter, Lord Neverember. Yeah. You heard all the things, and they did it as just, for lack of a word, it's like clickbait. It's listen bait.
Yeah.
All the people. Was that
member berries?
Exactly.
I remember that. Yeah.
Exactly. It was all names that we say. Oh, he was in my campaign, and it gets you to say cool. Yeah. In reality, it's no substance to that shit.
Cool is the key word there, because it's like at the end of the day, I thought the story was just. It was the typical 5e railroad plot-driven thing where you know what I'm saying.
Let's go here. Let's go there, and all of a sudden they're there.
There was no sandbox. They had no autonomy. They had no. It was. They have to go here. They have to go there. And when they get off the trail that the DM set them on, the DM throws a paladin. They get them back on the fucking trail.
And the movie played like that.
That's what
they
I'm
were
saying.
like, let's go to the Crypt Garden Forest, and the next scene they're in the Crypt Garden Forest.
But it didn't make sense.
Of course
because
not.
It's like, and then we're underwater. Look, we'll break out. Salt water. That's like 800, 1,000 miles away from the goddamn Sword Coast. How the hell is there salt water out there?
Yeah,
that's what I mean. Shit has to make sense.
That being said, Joe, that's because you know the map. But if people are watching this movie and they don't know that the Crypt Garden Forest isn't next to the ocean, no one would even know the difference.
It's dumb.
Of course it's dumb. Of course
it has to make fucking sense. But here's the bottom line, is that here's where I think they failed. They tried to cram too much backstory into the beginning by talking.
Exposition,
which is the opposite of what I did with my, here's instead of 2-3 pages of backstory, I'm going to role play out over 10 hours with you key aspects of your backstory to make it more real. They should have just, instead of talking through it and giving the literally talking through it, they should have just had it acted out, and you could do a multi-movie thing. You know what I mean? I would rather have seen all that stuff. All that other shit could have been a whole movie. Mm-hmm. And then this would have had more significance because I had no character buy-in. Right? I couldn't buy into the characters because I was just told about them. I didn't get to see them go through all this stuff.
Yeah, I don't remember their names.
So
I'd have to struggle to remember some of their classes. Yeah. You got a barbarian, you got apparently a bard. Yeah. I guess that guy was a thief.
Yeah.
You got a wardsmith. They kept calling him a sorcerer.
Yeah, who knows?
I can't tell if he was a wizard or sorcerer. I couldn't really tell.
I'll take it as
then
the
druid, of course, who's quite cute, by the way.
The tiefling,
The tiefling druid, of course, we've outlawed tieflings as a playable race. You turned it into a class itself. But she was kind of cute, honestly. She actually was the only eye bait in the entire thing. Yeah. But even she was kind of annoying.
Yeah. But here's the thing, though, is like, at the end of the day, with a bad backstory where you couldn't get invested in the characters, right? Because they just told you about themselves rather than, it's as a writer, right? What is that phrase, as a writer? Don't say it, do it, act it out, right? And that's they should have just had it acted out. They should have had all the bullshit at the beginning as the first movie. This could have been the third movie in the fucking trilogy, but they didn't do it like that,
well,
right?
Let's face it,
or the second movie.
In all honesty, D&D movies don't have that kind of legs. Like, they're
Well,
not
they
going
could
to...
have, if they did it the right way, is my point, and they might have had more legs. And if they didn't drop it between John Wick and goddamn Mario Brothers too, it might have helped too.
honestly, John Wick.
Jesus Christ.
But
and they didn't sabotage themselves saying the shit about emasculation. It could have helped too.
Shut up about
I
that stuff.
But here's the other thing too. If you're not buying into the characters, right? If you're not buying into the story, if you don't buy the characters, we don't buy the story because you don't care what the story is, right? If the story is a fucking 5th edition railroad, then it's like, Jesus, they're not even taking action on their own. Conan went out there and says, I'm going to steal that fucking gem, and he killed the snake and took the gem, right? This is like our characters having their own sense of action.
I disagree in that this was any more railroady of a movie than a Conan movie. The Conan movie was an adventure too. Conan was one of those dumb guys that takes every plot hook. Oh, big red gem on a snake? I'll take that.
He sought it out, though. My point is,
he just took all the plot hooks.
No. But here's the other thing. Here's one last thing. At the end of the day, tell me any of those characters, any of the actors, the characters in the movie, any of them were cool?
No,
not one of them was cool. Not one.
I keep coming back to the archetypes though,
yeah,
because they don't strike a chord.
No,
none of them struck a chord with me. Like in I'm gonna go back on my Yellowstone thing. In 1883, James Dutton was a badass. Not a badass. They could beat everybody up. He had the mental toughness, the mental intensity
that would get you to go out there and settle the land.
He willed a bunch of people from 1,000 miles from one point to 2,000 miles to another by his grit. Right? He willed it. And then you go to 1923 and you see Spencer. This dude. He gets hired to kill animals that kill humans.
Yeah. In Africa.
Like I'm not talking about possums. I'm talking about lions and
lions and tigers and bears.
You see those guys that those are the underoos I would wear. Those are the Halloween costume I'd wear.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at this movie and I'm like, no, none of these characters appeal to me because they're being written by people who have no appreciation for the classics. They're classics for a reason.
Yes.
They're not classics because they're old. They're classics because they all strike the same resonance, the same chord, the same strike upon humanity that we all can resonate with, at a certain level.
Certain archetypes of characters and archetypical stories that resonate because they keep repeating themselves over and over and over
in history,
in all cultures, everywhere for thousands and thousands of years.
All cultures
everywhere
have the same.
And so
people.
When you have writers who poo-poo all the old stuff
because it's old,
or because
old is bad. Old means bad.
Yeah, or because they just aren't taught it because they're not taught shit in school anymore, right? Or because they want to just change bullshit just to say they changed it. But the thing is, I don't think they read. I think they just watch shows. And that is the archetype for them. It used to be that reading was where you got these stories or passed along an oral tradition. But now, if the only stories that are being passed along to you come from another fucking movie,
right,
you don't know the underpinnings of that movie that made that movie great. All you see is that movie, and so you try to mimic and copy elements of it without knowing why those elements were good in the first place.
You're mimicking effects and not the causes.
Exactly. You don't understand why it's good.
Right.
So you have the surfacey shit. That's the same kind of mentality that says, oh, Iron Man and Thor are mantles. It's not the character or the actor. It's a mantle that you could apply to anybody you possibly want.
Right.
And then that'll still carry because they think the Iron Man or the Thorness carries over. No, It's the actor playing the character, and it's the deep story behind them.
It's the humanity of the character.
You can't just throw Superman's
the relatability
outfit on anybody.
It's
and
the
make them
relatability
Superman.
of people as they see themselves, or they see how they want themselves to be.
Yeah. And so they've lost that. They've lost the knowledge of that. They lost any understanding of that.
Coming back to D&D, none of the characters. I mean, I suppose, maybe I don't know. Maybe a female might want to be like that Rodriguez chick, I guess. Maybe, who knows? Because she was kind of a cool character.
She was, yeah.
She had some deadpan, comments, humor. That was kind of cool. But none of the other characters, they're all ineffectual or unconfident or just douchebags in general.
Yeah.
And think about it.
Yeah.
Think about it. Even Chris Pine, he had a couple moments. He had that one shining speech at the end.
He never did a bardy thing other than a little bit of inspiration.
He played some dumb songs like the guy from The Witcher.
It wasn't even him playing it. It was the illusion of him playing it.
Yeah.
Remember? So it wasn't even him playing the damn song.
Yeah, like he didn't get a taunt in or whatever.
He didn't do a bard thing. He didn't do a thief thing. He didn't do any combat other than hit some guy once with his goddamn mandolin.
The only things he did was in his flashbacks to the Harpers when he would trip a guy. Overall. I applaud them for trying, but I also think they're dumb.
Yeah.
For even this is 5e's Silver Age, like maybe not the Golden Age.
Yeah.
Silver Age, because there's more people playing right now than ever in history of D&D. It's become more inclusive. It's become,
which is good.
And
the more
which is
the better.
Fantastic.
Everybody play D&D. We strained to find people to play with. Now everybody plays it.
Stranger Things changed all that. The HBO show, like it got people
and don't
interested.
forget Big Bang Theory.
Yes.
Big time.
Yep. But Stranger Things came out in 2016 or 20, and and 5e just took off as a genius marketing. By the way, fantastic.
The crowd that plays 5e might like this better because they're again growing up the younger the whole bit.
And they appreciate all the different there was a Dragonborn, there was the cat people.
Yeah, that's a Baxi.
Yeah. I should have known what that name was, but I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
But it was inclusive. It included
that's
everything.
Fine with me. That's cool. Good. Here's the thing. I'm wondering though. They were relying on this movie, Wizards of the Coast, I think, to pump up even more interest in 5e. 5e is waning at this point, right? It's wearing out.
Well,
that's why they got a new edition.
Yeah, but it's still 5e.
But they're going to call it 5e, but it's not 5e.
No, they're going to call it something else.
No, they're calling it 5e now. They said they're going to keep calling it 5e, or maybe 5e Revised.
So it's like Windows 10 forever.
That's exactly it. But it's going to be very different. Oh,
it's Windows 10.
You can use all your old books. No, you can't.
Yeah.
No, you can't, because you're playing a stupid thief from the first version, and the newer version of a thief has more abilities. You're not going to like it. But the bottom line is,
how do we get from the Star Trek movie to that?
But here's the thing. I got a long train here. I don't talk in tweets. So if you got a 5e movie taking advantage of the 5e popularity, right?
Yeah.
Appealing to the 5e crowd.
Yep.
But the 5e system is waning. And the entire way of playing 5e is moving, shifting over the next couple of years. They're going to be everything on the VTT, right?
Oh,
they're dumping hundreds of millions. I don't know how much they're doing. I mean, like fucking shit ton of money. They hired like a couple hundred programmers. That ain't cheap, right? They're buying all this technology and developing everything. So you're going to be having...
They realize these people that are playing this game don't make a lot of money, right?
That's the thing.
They're all young kids.
Yeah, they're not buying this stuff. You got to pay money every month. I mean,
right.
You're trying to make D&D into World of Warcraft, EverQuest, whatever you want to call it, right? Lord of the Rings Online, DDO, DD Online.
Yeah, and it's an
essentially
MMO
a turn-based MMO.
Yeah.
That's all it's going to be, right? That's what they're moving towards. That's where they're gonna try to monetize players because they're tired of monetizing DMs. They want the other.
The players
80%.
don't have the money to be monetized.
And the younger generation certainly doesn't have the money.
So I'm saying.
They're not spending as much as I am, I guarantee you.
No.
They're not spending as much as I am on books and minis and everything else, right?
Right.
And Kickstarters and everything. My fucking bookshelves are straining under the fucking pressure of what the shit I bought lately, So it's insane. So I think that this is like they're throwing out this thing as like, ta-da, look, the movie, and then ta-da, look, the new revised edition, ta-da, the VTT, and they'll be like crickets. Where the fuck is everybody?
Right.
We dropped $100 million. Now we got to sell this goddamn IP. Because that's all they consider it to be is IP. We got content. We got IP. No, we got a fucking role-playing game for fucking geeks that was temporarily popular because of a couple fucking TV shows.
Yeah.
And now you're going to lose all that because everything goes through a cycle.
But Joe, this is all because the people that are running it aren't like you and I who understand the game.
They're not gamers.
These are just corporate people.
Yeah, they're corporate
who are
hacks.
looking at it like, yes, exactly.
Corporate hacks.
Looking at numbers and not understanding the causality and the nuance and the reasoning for the numbers.
They hire people to write some of these bullshit modules. I still call it modules, adventures in some of those compilation, right? And basically they've never played D&D before.
Right.
How are you going to write a fucking D&D adventure you never played D&D before?
Mm-hmm.
How is that possible?
It was like that chick that got fired by Star Wars Disney a couple weeks ago. She had a video where she's like, "Yeah, I don't really like comics. I've ever read them." And she's basically producing comic book movies, right?
Yep.
So it's the same. It's the same thing. You got people who are just corporate people who are trying to run a company that serves geeks, and they just should have hired geeks who got some sense.
They just don't like geeks, though, is the problem, because geeks will tell them what's going on and how they got to do it, and here's why corporate types don't understand that.
They don't like the omegas.
It's the same reason. It's the same reason that you have people like Scorsese can put a movie out there, right? And he's like, producers are going to give him notes. No, that's fucking Martin Scorsese.
Right.
You're not going to give him notes from the fucking on high. Clint Eastwood would take your notes, stick it up your ass.
Yes.
You know. And so they know what they're doing.
Lucky,
you know,
punk.
you got people like Tarantino. You're not giving him notes. He'll spit on it.
Right.
You know, he'll burn it. Right. But these new people, the executive types are going to give notes based on nothing other than they want to put their imprint on it.
Right.
And get a credit for it and say they're responsible
for their
it
next
in some way. For the next thing so they can move along. They don't care about the game. They don't care about what they're producing. All they care about is a good year so they can put that on their resume and transfer out to some big gaming company and say, I work for Wizards of the Coast and we produce this under my watch.
Yep.
And therefore I can now work for whatever the new you do gaming, I don't know, whatever the hell gaming companies are out there that are still good.
I don't pay
you know?
attention.
Yeah, who knows? Whoever makes Diablo or who the hell knows. But yeah, that's all they want. They want to go somewhere like fucking Locusts.
And the product reflects all of that.
All of it. It's a shit product lately, and that's why everything is dropping off in sales because all the creative types they're gone or they're being crushed.
The beginning of 5e was fantastic.
Yeah.
The second half sucked.
Yeah,
There was a transition.
Just like the MCU.
Yes, you're right.
For the same reasons.
It's
They had
for the same reasons.
True creatives like what's his face? God damn it, Iron Man's right hand man.
Happy Hogan.
Oh yeah, who was it? What's the fuck his name? Him. Favreau at the beginning with Iron Man, right? That's it. Favreau, creative guy, loved fucking comics, put out Iron Man.
Most importantly, they gave him free reign.
Yes. And then once they see it's successful, everybody wants a piece of that shit. Everybody wants to put their imprint on it. Everybody wants to take credit for it. So they pass notes. They oversee. They supervise. They basically destroy the creative process and drive the creatives who are really creative the hell out of there, right? And then they only keep the people that could just they could crush and control. And there are still some left, I'm sure, that are good, but they're just
tons.
They can't get
a job.
They can't leave that job because they got to do it and they got to put up with the bullshit, right? I'm sure there's still some creative people. Wizards of the Coast. We're just not going to see their shit until 5e crashes and burns and these shithead executives leave and they sell 5e or D&D off to somebody else.
It just becomes.
It's the cycle of everything.
Yeah, it's a pendulum swing.
Yep.
And right now, it's swung in the wrong direction in a lot of ways, including D&D.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. I like when you guys were going on the OG, I couldn't really give a shit less because for me, I'm DMing a 5e campaign. I'm playing on your 2e campaign. If I love your setting and story, I wish it was 5e.
Yeah, never gonna be.
I get it, but that I'm still having fun. I don't give a shit what comes next because I don't need any of it. I have enough imagination and resources to do what the fuck I want, when I want, and how I want.
Yeah.
So they can all fuck themselves with the OGL. I don't care.
Somebody was talking about the schism in the terms of like the newer people, the 5e people, they're going to be like moving over to the VTT, and there's going to be like the pen and paper guys are going to be like 40 and up, still rolling dice at conventions and whatnot. And there's like some people are like, fuck it then, let them go. That's a whole different D&D. It's not my D&D.
Yeah,
it's an
fine.
online D&D. Go have your fun. No judgment. Go have a blast. It ain't for me.
Comes back to what I was saying earlier.
I still buy fucking dice.
Yeah,
too much.
You have a fucking problem though.
Well, we all.
Like there needs to be a self-help group for your dices.
Let he who has not bought more dice than he will ever use cast the first stone.
So I'm OCD. I have one bag. I've got my dice have never been touched by anybody else. They're metal.
I touched them when you're not looking.
No, you said you did.
I touched them when you're not looking.
No, the package was fucking secure when I came
afterwards.
home. They got delivered when I was at Disney with my family, and Joey was, hanging out in my house while I was gone. And they got delivered, and he's like, "Oh, I touched them," and I was gonna throw them out when I came home, and the package was sealed. But I'm very OCD, and I like my own dice, and I don't touch anybody else's dice. Don't touch mine. Joey, every fucking week and a half, I get a goddamn photo of some new dice collection he bought.
New dice.
You got a problem.
No. Dice.
You got a fucking problem.
No. Dice. You can never have enough. You can never. They're all different kinds. You got some that has stone. Some that have different kinds of metal.
You have
wood.
I'm pretty sure you got the periodic
sizes.
fucking table of dice.
Yeah.
You got the periodic table. You got lithium. You got cobalt. You got all kinds of.
Cobalt would be a kind of cool color. Would it? It'd be a cool color for dice. Yeah. Any cobalt dice.
Admit it, you got a
out
fucking
there.
problem.
I don't have a problem. Sometimes you just got to buy dice. You never know when you're going to need them.
Yes, you do.
And I do.
You
I bring
always
different ones.
you always know when you need dice.
No.
You never don't
bring
know.
different ones to conventions for different things.
No
different
one's ever
purposes.
gone out in the wilderness and been like, I might need
different
dice
characters
someday.
need a different kind of dice. Different PC needs different dice. This
Joe,
is,
Step one is admitting it. The problem.
No, there's no problem. There's no problem. But there is a problem now, but this fire's getting too low and it's fucking cold.
Yeah, it's too late to throw more wood on it.
Yeah.
It's time for bed.
Yeah, so anyway, it's been an hour and 20. Thanks for listening this long,
this
guys.
is a long one.
Yeah, it is.
And we didn't really talk about anything.
Yeah, we did. A little bit. Something about we talked.
I guess.
Maybe we entertained. Yeah.
I think we just recorded when we were just having a normal conversation.
Basically, that's all we ever really do, Yeah, this is just normal conversation.
Good night.
Later, everybody. Hit that like, subscribe, and all that shit. I got to take a leak, and I'm going home and get warm. Jesus Christ. Later.